You ever watch the show Pawn Stars on the History Channel? They have some really cool characters, but more importantly, you ever watch how the people negotiate when they try and sell their items to the pawn shop? Come join me as I share with you some really cool information about the negotiation process that I think will really interest you. Come on in. Hi, I'm Gerry. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury trial attorney practicing law here in the state of New York. You know, Pawn Stars is a great show. Why? They've got great characters. When people come in and try to sell their items, their old items to the pawn shop, I find it fascinating how they negotiate with the pawn shop. You know, there are two different agendas that are going on when somebody brings their item into the pawn shop. The first is that the person bringing it in, trying to sell it, is trying to get the most money possible. The pawn shop, on the other hand, wants to get that item, assuming they're interested in it, and they want to pay as little as possible for that. This way they can try and make a big profit when they sell it to somebody else. Now what's fascinating is that when a consumer comes in, many times they don't understand what is the true value of what it is that they're trying to sell. Many don't have an idea of what the history behind the item is. They don't really know what it is or what it was used for. But the show is really cool because it tells lots of great stories and it educates people about these old items. So what's fascinating about the negotiation process is these people come in, they say, you know, I want to get $1,000 for this item. And when Rick Harrison, the owner, turns around and says, well, what are you looking to get out of this item? And they say $1,000. The first response that Rick says is, absolutely not. This item isn't worth $1,000. I'll pay you $150 for it. What just happened? What just happened is that the consumer went in believing that since they wanted $1,000, and that was the number that they truly wanted to walk away with, and they thought that their item was worth $1,000, that by starting off the negotiation process at $1,000, they thought that's what they're going to get. The reality is, and from watching the show, you see that never ever happens. Why not? Because the first gut response to your first demand is absolutely not. The pawn shop will come up with every possible excuse to tell you why your item is not worth what you perceive it to be. Instead, they'll tell you it's old, it's not in good condition, it needs a lot of work, it's going to sit in the shop for a long time, I'm not going to be able to sell it and make much of a profit. Many times the store will bring in an expert to evaluate what you're trying to sell and give you a value of what this thing is worth. And that is fascinating. So then Rick turns around and says, okay, so now you know what it's worth, what do you want out of it? And you say, oh, I want $1,000. The expert said it's worth $1,000. And now again, they'll give you an excuse about why your item is not going to, you're not going to get that amount of money. Imagine if your attorney tried to negotiate your personal injury case the same way that consumers did when trying to sell an item to the pawn shop. So let's say you wanted as your bottom line number $500,000 to settle your case. Do you think it's appropriate to go to the defense lawyer or the insurance company and say, listen, I need $500,000 to settle your case? What do you think the first words out of their mouths will be? Absolutely not. Your case isn't worth $500,000. You've got so many different problems, and now they're going to give you lots of excuses about why your case is not worth $500,000. Maybe, if you're lucky, they'll come back with an offer of $100,000. Now what you've done is you've now set the bar of how much you wanted by telling them how much you've wanted as your bottom line number. And there's no place for you to go except down. And that's a bad position for you to be in. The better practice might have been if you'd started at $1 million. Say, listen, your case is worth $1 million. And now when they begin to negotiate and offer you something, you now have the ability to come down off that number. And they have the ability to come up to the number that you're looking for. So if lawyers negotiated the same way that people did when they tried to sell items to the pawn shop, I guarantee you a lot of people, a lot of injured victims would not be very happy. So why do I share this information with you? I share it with you just to give you an idea and an insight into the negotiation process. And Pawn Stars happens to be a great example, and it's a fascinating look at how people perceive their items to have a certain value and how the pawn shop tries to whittle them down to get the item for as low as possible. Chances are you have questions and concerns about your particular matter. And if your matter happened here in the state of New York and you have legal questions, what I encourage you to do is pick up the phone and call me. I answer legal questions like yours every single day, and I welcome your call. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at lawmed10@yahoo.com. I'm going inside now to watch another episode of Pawn Stars. I'm Gerry here in New York. Thanks so much for watching.